I was nursing our newborn when my father-in-law burst in and said, "You're not raising that child with your trash values." My husband just said, "Dad's right." I left that night and sent them court papers that turned their confidence into panic. We live in Eugene, Oregon. I was a high school English teacher before I had my daughter, Nora. My husband, Alex, worked from home as a freelance graphic designer. We'd been married 5 years. I thought we had a stable life. I thought we respected each other. Turns out, I was wrong. When I met Alex, he seemed easygoing. Soft-spoken, respectful. His family was stiff. Traditional, with a capital T. His dad, Harold, was a retired pastor. Very Bible says this, Bible says that. His mom barely spoke unless Harold let her. Their house felt like a museum, quiet, rigid, cold. From the start, I didn't feel welcome. Harold said things like, "A wife's role is to serve." I brushed it off. Alex always said, "They're old-fashioned, just ignore it." I tried. For him, I tried. I sat through dinners with them, smiled politely when Harold said I should quit my job when I become a mother. Alex promised me he didn't believe any of that. I wanted to believe him. Then we had Nora. Labor was long and rough. I ended up with an emergency C-section. I could barely walk the first few days. I couldn't even sit up without help. Still, every hour, I was nursing, changing diapers, comforting our baby. Alex wasn't useless, but he wasn't great either. He made coffee, folded some laundry, but mostly said he was tired or stressed. And even with all that, I didn't expect what happened next. It was a week after I came home from the hospital. I was on the couch nursing Nora. I had one of Alex's old t-shirts on. No bra. Pajama pants. I was exhausted. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a time. Without warning, the front door opened. No knock. No call. Harold walked in like he owned the place. Donna followed, eyes down, silent as always. Alex was in the kitchen. He didn't look surprised. Just said, "Hey, Dad." I was still nursing. I said, "Can you knock?" Harold ignored me. Looked straight at me with disgust. Then he said, loud and clear, "You're not raising that child with your trash values." I froze. "What did you just say?" I asked. Harold didn't blink. "You heard me. That baby deserves better than a loudmouth wife who thinks being a mother means parading around half-naked, disobeying her husband." I looked at Alex, thinking this was his moment to stand up for me. To tell his father to shut up. Instead, Alex said, "Dad's right." That was it. I couldn't speak. I just stared at him. He didn't defend me. Didn't look guilty. He just shrugged, like I was being dramatic. I put Nora over my shoulder and stood up, still bleeding into my pad, still sore from surgery. I didn't say anything else. I went to our room, packed one diaper bag, my wallet, and a phone charger. I walked out the door holding my baby with both arms. Alex didn't follow. Not even a text. I drove straight to my sister's in Portland. She took one look at me, messy hair, eyes swollen, baby clinging to my chest, and just said, "Come in." That night, I cried harder than I ever have. Not because of what Harold said. Because of what Alex didn't. He didn't defend me. He didn't protect his wife and child. He let his father call me trash while I was nursing our newborn, and said he agreed. He never deserved either of us. The next day, he finally texted. Just said, "You need to come home." This is ridiculous. I told him, "I'll see you in court." He said, "You can't afford a lawyer." That was his first mistake. I found a lawyer the same week. Her name was Michelle. She was sharp, no nonsense, and a mother herself. I told her everything. She didn't flinch. We filed for emergency custody. My sister let me use her address so I could stay in Portland without worrying. The judge granted me temporary sole custody within a few days. Alex didn't even show up to the hearing. Probably thought I was bluffing. 2 weeks later, I sent the paperwork to Alex's email and certified mail. Custody petition. Restraining order request against Harold. Statement about household safety concerns. That's when the calls started. First from Alex. I didn't answer. Then from Donna. Voicemails. Please, don't ruin this family. As if I was the one who ruined anything. Then Alex showed up at my sister's house. I saw him from the window. I told her not to open the door. He stood outside for half an hour before leaving a note in the mailbox. It said, "You're overreacting. Come home. We can work it out." But it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about Nora. She deserved better than a father who stood by while his dad called her mother filth. We went to court a month later. Alex showed up with some cheap lawyer who barely spoke. Harold came too. Sat behind Alex, arms crossed like he was the one on trial. Donna didn't come. The judge asked Alex why he didn't contest temporary custody. He said he didn't think it was serious. The judge didn't like that. I showed texts. I showed screenshots. Voicemails. Photos of me post-surgery. Michelle presented everything with calm, lethal precision. When Harold tried to speak from the gallery, the judge shut him down fast. By the end of that hearing, I had full physical custody. Alex got supervised visitation, once a week, in Portland, at a neutral center. I thought maybe that would wake him up. It didn't. 3 weeks into visitation, Alex stopped showing. No explanation. No calls. Just skipped 2 weeks in a row. The center documented everything. Then I got a call from Michelle. Alex had filed for custody. But not on his own. Harold and Donna were backing him. They hired a new lawyer. Expensive. Loud. Claimed I was alienating Nora. Said I was robbing a father of his child. They wanted joint custody. Equal time. But the real twist? They also wanted religious oversight. They filed a motion to require me to raise the child in a biblically moral household. Michelle looked stunned. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. It wasn't just about Nora. It was about control. Harold wanted to own my child's life like he owned his wife's. They didn't see it coming when we fought back harder. Michelle went on the offensive. She filed a motion to dismiss their claim for religious oversight, citing First Amendment rights. She also filed to block Harold and Donna from having any legal say in the case, arguing they had no parental rights over Nora and were using their money to manipulate the process. The judge scheduled a hearing to address the new claims. Meanwhile, I kept a journal. Every missed visit. Every hostile text. Every weird message Donna sent asking me to reflect on my role as a wife. I printed everything. But then something strange happened. A woman reached out to me on Facebook. I didn't recognize her name. Her message just said, "I think you deserve to know what Harold's really like. Call me." I hesitated. But curiosity won. Her name was Marcia. She used to go to Harold's church back in the 90s. She told me Harold wasn't just controlling, he was cruel. She said he used to counsel women in the church to stay with abusive husbands. That he told one woman God wants you to endure after her husband broke her arm. I felt sick. Then she said, "I'm not the only one who remembers. If this is going to court, you shouldn't be alone." With Michelle's help, we gathered statements from 3 other women who had similar stories. All former members of Harold's old congregation. All willing to testify, if it came to that. We didn't need to use them yet. But it gave us leverage. The day of the custody hearing came. Alex walked in looking tired. Harold looked angry. Donna kept her head down. Their lawyer started with a performance. This child deserves access to both loving parents and a home guided by strong moral structure. Michelle waited until he was done, then calmly said, "We have evidence this structure includes verbal abuse, religious coercion, and the undermining of parental autonomy. Would you like us to begin?" Their lawyer paused. Michelle pulled out the stack of witness statements. Emails. Voicemails. The judge asked to see them in private. We handed over everything. That's when Alex started to sweat. He whispered something to his lawyer. The lawyer stood up and asked for a recess. During the break, I saw Harold grab Alex's arm and hiss something in his ear. Alex jerked away. That was new. They looked cracked. Michelle leaned over to me and said, "They didn't think you'd fight back." Back in court, their tone shifted. Suddenly, they were willing to compromise. Suddenly, they didn't want religious oversight anymore. They just wanted reasonable visitation. The judge didn't buy it. He postponed a final decision and ordered a full psychological evaluation for both parents. Me and Alex. Plus, a home study for where Nora would live. Michelle nodded like she expected it. But I saw it in Alex's face. He knew he'd lose that test. Especially with what was coming next. The home evaluations took a month. The social worker who visited me was kind, but thorough. She interviewed me, checked the house, asked about my routines with Nora. I was honest. I told her how things fell apart, how Alex let his father speak to me like dirt, and how he never once apologized. Alex's visit was a different story. I didn't know the details at first, but I found out later through court records. The evaluator noted that Harold was present during the visit, even though he wasn't supposed to be. When asked to leave, Harold refused. He said, "This is my house, and I have a right to know what goes on under my roof." Alex didn't say a word. The evaluator also noted that Nora's room had been set up like a church nursery. Crosses on the wall. Bibles everywhere. No toys. No books. No crib. Just a playpen and a baby Jesus nightlight. They failed the evaluation. At the next court date, the judge laid it out clear: I had full custody. Alex would get supervised visitation twice a month at a court-monitored center, until further notice. Harold and Donna were banned from being present at any exchange or visit. Alex turned red. He started to argue. But the judge raised a hand and said, "One more word, and I hold you in contempt." Then came the twist. Michelle filed one last motion. She asked for reimbursement of legal fees and damages for emotional distress and harassment during postpartum recovery. She submitted medical records, testimonies, the witness letters. Everything. The judge paused, then said, "Given the timeline and the behavior documented, I find it justified." He ordered Alex and Harold to pay $26,000 in fees and damages. Harold exploded in court, shouting, pointing. Security had to escort him out. Donna followed behind, crying into her hands. I watched them leave without a single word. Alex looked at me like I'd pulled the rug out from under him. Maybe I had. But I didn't feel guilty. He let them humiliate me when I was at my weakest. He stood by when his father called me trash while I was nursing our baby. He had every chance to make it right. He didn't. 2 weeks later, I got a handwritten note in the mail from Donna. It said, "I'm sorry. I should have said something. I hope Nora grows up strong, like her mother." I didn't reply. But I kept it. It was the only honest thing that ever came out of that family. Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. Nora smiled more. Slept better. I started teaching again, part-time. My sister helped. My friend stepped up. Alex faded into the background. He stopped showing up to the supervised visits after a while. I heard he moved back in with his parents. Last I checked, he was working at a print shop. Quiet, small life. No new custody filings. No effort. I kept the court papers in a drawer, just in case. But I don't think I'll need them again. Because I fought back. And I won. And they'll never forget it. Not Alex. Not Harold. Not even Donna. Especially not me.